Star Trek Generations is the stupidest movie ever made. It ruined everything. And not just Star Trek movies, but everything. Why make a video review of this movie after it's been out for like 14 years? Well, the truth is, I've got nothing better to do. But I've always wanted to articulate all the little points about what I hate about this movie. So let's begin, shall we? The transition.
Once again, we've saved civilization as we know it.
And the good news is they're not going to prosecute.
So Star Trek VI concluded the movies of the original cast pretty well, I think. Kirk and the crew, they saved the president of the Federation. Scotty killed the bad guy. And then they solved a mystery that Scooby-Doo couldn't solve. And in the end, they all gathered around and posed for a picture that nobody took. And then the Enterprise, it sailed off into the sunset.
Second star to the right. And straight on till morning.
And they were hanging their hats up, their space hats. Moving on to retirement. But no, they couldn't leave well enough alone. So then it came time for the Next Generation movie. And what I'm guessing happened was that people in the studio were probably a little scared about making a Star Trek movie without the original crew members. So, in true stupidity, they added a couple and made it kind of a combination movie, which was stupid. So instead of making a really great Next Generation movie with a really good story, really good action, they had to squeeze in Kirk and a couple other characters, whoever else wanted to be in it.
The story certainly isn't about Chekhov, nor is any one page about Chekhov. I feel that I've been given the opportunity to invest some character into the dialogue.
Nice to see you in action one more time, Captain Kirk.
Sulu had his own command. They forgot to ask Nichelle Nichols, and they asked Spock, but he said no, because the script sucked.
Go to hell.
So then there you are. They're launching the Enterprise B, and you have an awkward, partial first original cast. Only ones who were lame enough to show up showed up. The other ones didn't show up because they had better things to do. So that made it weird. That made it weird from the beginning. Number 2, things don't make sense. So the script for Generations reads like my dead wife wrote it. And my dead wife didn't know much about Star Trek. Now she don't know much about anything. So in the beginning, the captain of the Enterprise B says,
"Ladies and gentlemen, we've just cleared the asteroid belt. Our course today will take us out beyond Pluto and then back to space dock. Just a quick run around the block."
Then of course they get a distress call.
We're picking up a distress call, Captain.
Then, like in a true Star Trek thing, they're the only ship in range.
The ships are bearing at 310 Mark 215. Distance, 3 light years.
Signal the closest starship. We're in no condition to mount a rescue. We're the only one in range, sir.
Now that's okay, because that makes it kind of exciting if they're the only ship that can be there. But, if you'll recall, they were going to sail around Pluto,
Our course today will take us out beyond Pluto.
which puts them just inside the Earth solar system. So they're near Earth in the heart of the Federation, and they're the only ship in range? Earth is the headquarters of the Federation. There should be like hundreds of ships all over the place flying around. They got the shipyards near Mars. They got probably tens of ships floating around here or there, and they could zip around at the warp speed. So I don't understand. Then you got a gigantic space ribbon that's flying around heading towards Earth, and it's 3 light years away. Shouldn't somebody have sounded an alarm? There's a thing coming at us. There's a thing coming at us. Number 3, not everybody got the memo about the uniforms. So now you got half the original crew and half the uniforms from the Deep Space Nine. I don't understand this. Starfleet is like a military organization, you know? So they say, look, we got new uniforms. Everyone put them on the first of next month. Instead, they kind of said, yeah, put them on whenever you want to. It's just a f***ing uniform. So if you run into an alien species that wants to join the Federation, and they're all like, what's going on with the uniforms? We don't know what's going on. Number 4, different lighting. While it's painfully obvious they shot parts of Star Trek VI on Next Generation sets, they carefully covered up parts where you could tell this by putting random crew members in the way, just kind of staring. But what's weird to me is that the Enterprise D suddenly looked different. For 7 years on the show, we were used to seeing it look one way. Nice, even TV lighting. But since it's a movie, they had to get fancy. So it's just weird because it's different now. And I don't like things that are different. Let's take a look at Data's quarters before and now after. See what I'm talking about? It got dark or something. And I don't like things that are different. Number 5, Picard's stupid photo album. So Picard learns that his family died in a fire. He takes a moment out of his busy day to kind of look at some photos, reminisce a bit. Looking at pictures of his family on like a computer screen or his little laptop wouldn't have been as emotional. So Picard's an old-fashioned guy. He likes books and Shakespeare, archaeology, and old pots. So it makes sense that he'd have a photo album. But because this movie sucks, they had to ruin the photo album too by putting this dumb little holographic border around the picture. Did they really need to have a space photo album? Now what purpose does the little reflective hologram borders around the picture serve? Other than to distract you from the picture. Why did they put that on? Number 6. Data's motion chip is different looking. Yep, I'm complaining about this. See, the thing is, they made it look like a giant computer processor. That's so people in the audience that don't know about Star Trek know what the hell's going on. I guess that's alright, but it just looks so different from what it looked like before. They made this movie for people that like Star Trek, right? So when Data was gonna blast it with a phaser, completely disregarding any kind of safety hazards, he takes a look at the chip, and he's like, maybe someday, Geordi, maybe someday I'll put this chip in my head and laugh at your jokes. So then that day finally comes after he pushed Dr. Crusher in the water, and he says, Geordi, I want to put the emotions chip in my brain. And it's like 500 times bigger and it looks different. So but Data doesn't say anything about it because he didn't remember what it looked like. And Geordi didn't know what it looked like either. So they stick it in his brain. Number 7. SAURON'S space rocket and a bunch of other shit that doesn't make sense.
Ah, yes, Captain. Thank you for coming.
Malcolm McDowell plays a villain named Sauron. He wants to extinguish a sun to make a giant space ribbon pass over a planet and pick him up. He'll do this by firing a rocket into the sun.
What?
First off, Picard and the crew know about his plan. Him and Data figure it out in the room with the map.
That's where he's going.
So then they go to the planet to try and stop Sauron. When they get to the planet, though, they run into a Klingon ship that has Geordi kidnapped. They offer a prisoner exchange that makes no sense.
Then I will beam to his location. Then I will beam to your ship and you can transport me to Sauron. I will be your prisoner. But first, you must beam me to the surface so that I can speak with Sauron.
So when they get Geordi back and they beam Picard down, everyone kind of goes about their normal business.
I'd like to run a level 3 diagnostic on the port plasma relays.
And they forget about what's happening. Why didn't they just, beam down hundreds of security guards to go shoot Sauron? Or send down some shuttles? Or fire a shot at the Klingon ship and disable its weapons? They could have just beamed Picard right back up after they got Geordi and said, "Suckers!"